ଏଇଟା ଏଇଟା ଏଇଟା
ସିଏ ଷ୍ଟେ କରିବ।
ହଁ ତାକୁ ମଜା ଲାଗୁଛି ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ଭିତରେ ଆଉ
ଜଙ୍ଗଲଟା ଭାରି ଭଲ ଲାଗେ ନା।
ଆନିଆ
So one of the major reasons why I invited you was honey. And
ହାନି ଆଇଡା
idea.
କାହିଁ ମାମା ମୋର ଓଲୋ
So this is one of the dogs at our shelter, right?
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
how did you tell us the story, a little bit of a biography of what is now, who has now become the
a major like mascot to our
mascot
shelter.
of our
Everyone knows
shelter,
Honey,
Honey,
and
yeah.
she was one case which got pretty famous in Bhubaneswar.
Right.
We had received a call. I think I was having my dinner at that time. I received a call that there's this dog that is being beaten up very badly and is always tied on the terrace. And these drunk people, they come and beat her up very badly, and there's no care, nothing, and she's tied to a huge big chain all the time. And I think I asked him for the video. This guy was like, okay, I'm immediately producing your video, you have a look. The video that came in, it like shook me like crazy. I couldn't have my dinner after that. This woman comes up with this huge bamboo and this starts beating her up,
Yeah.
like
Just for no
smashing her
reason.
for no reason. The reason what they described was Honey tore up her sari or something as such, which is like not even viable reason as such. But then that is what happened, and immediately we went ahead that exact next morning, and thankfully one of the officers from the nearby station was knew us very well, and he also saw the video. He was like, no, we'll
Honey.
have to do something on this.
Ah.
And Anya.
You have
And
to do
immediately we have to do something about this, and we went to the house, and we registered a complaint at the session that this is the thing that is happening, and she's being tied up over there, and always she's on the spot, like on the terrace, and we went and reconned ourselves to see what is happening, and she was there. She did not know how to bark. She did not know the meaning of freedom. She was itching herself. There was like scars all over her body, and it was like pretty hot on the terrace, and she was there tied up. And I think later immediately we called in the owner. The owner didn't show up
Right.
that exact day.
Right.
The owner came up the next day at late night, and this as the video even got viral, lot of people joined. Lot of people were like, no, get the dog in your custody, and this is what is happening and all. And we were like, no, we have to do something. And then as the video got viral, it reached the ears of higher authorities, like maybe home and police, and everyone got to know that this is the scenario, and the video got reached a lot of people, and everyone came in to join support, and everyone called the police station. It was on media and all. And then I guess when the next day the owner comes in, and he says that no, we have not been doing anything as such, and it's a false accusation and that. And I simply, what I do whenever during we do a lot of cruelty cases, right? So whenever these kind of cruelty happens, so I first listen what that person
has to
say. When everything is over, in my mind I fix up all the points what I am going to put on him. So I immediately fixed all the points. I said that if nothing is wrong, please produce us the vaccination records, and second, I would request the authority to give us our permission along with your staff to take the dog for a veterinary checkup, and let us get all the reports done, and it would be all clear. Doodh ka doodh and pani ka pani. Yeah. So he was like, no. Why would I he became aggressive at that spot.
I'm sure
why
he
should I give all this and that.
Right.
And he was like very possessive over her. And later sooner the next day we fixed that, okay, Honey will go for a veterinary checkup and all, and time was given 11 a.m. and we along with a few staff went over there to his house. The person had absconded, leaving
Thankfully.
leaving Honey
person,
tied.
yeah.
That person
That's a good story. That's a good ending story.
No, not ending. It was just the beginning. That person got absconded.
Right.
He tied Honey and left. I immediately contacted again the officers, and they're like, okay, let us contact him and see. And then he was not receiving calls. Later when he received call, it was like around maybe 2 o'clock, and he said that I'm off for office. And I think we encountered his wife that time, and she was like, do whatever you want to do, and we are not going to support and we are not going to cooperate and everything. She said on spot, and thankfully it was on a live video, and we recorded her every words on live, and that is what we again produced at the police station. And they said that let's get it done at 4 p.m. We again went at 4 p.m. That person did not turn up, and I was like, okay, so if this person is not turning up, what is exactly happening? And what we did, we took our vehicle out, we went to another distant place, and we parked our vehicle in a shed, and we just immediately waited to see that what is happening. And then later we see that he has a room on the top of his house, and he comes out of the room, and that time, and he goes down, and I get to know that this guy had not gone anywhere. He was hiding at his house.
At his watchtower.
Yes. So the other day we again go to the station, we again request and all of that, and then because there were like higher people involved, officials
and
involved.
one of the points is, I mean, just generally I kind of didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just generally getting a little angry listening to the antics of this person, because I know it's not rare and so much of abuse and things happen. But you know what they are missing out is honey. What they are missing out is honey. I mean, honey is one of the most smartest, most loyal. I mean, most can be attached to a lot of adjectives, which honey is such a special dog and such an important, such a fantastic story that you and she and our organization has. She's really the mascot of our organization. क्या होगा अच्छा ambient noise
depleting population हेलानी आकर बहुत fast weavers babblers अच्छा population बहुत deplete है ना आगो अपेक्षा ना आती. These are the ones who give first trigger to snakes and cats and any other mongoose. ये पे first माने ये warning symbol. एकदम बढ़िया म्यूजिकल टोन था मैंने when there is a threat they'll all scream together at a height and they'll actually locate you the animal मैंने मो exactly बहुत rescues रे भी help होई locate हाँ 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 बहुत जगह गोटे गोटे एमती थी वो साप कोटे पाउन थी से बैबलर से चिलो तो कि बिल्ली से चिलो तो और इन फॉरेस्ट आल्सो बुलावली करला बड़कू whenever I see that the babbler कोटे अछने first locate से babbler exactly
babbler माने तो almost सब जिंस रे पार्टी करथांती लोको देखले भी पार्टी करथांती
ना तांगर सब ट्यूनिंग अलगा था माने if you keep listening to them you'll
understand that at least the kind of threat.
So what happens is when there's a like a snake or a cat or something as such, a single babbler will be there, the group will be at different place.
अच्छा
हाँ तो सिंगल बैबलर और इन द ग्रुप माने तांकर फोकस पॉइंट थियो स्नेक से मजा मजी बोलथो कि बिलेई से मजा मजा तांको प्रेडेटर
तो से माने फॉलो करंती माने और मंकीज भलिया तांकर गोटे वॉच एनिमल
हां वॉच एनिमल
आई थिंक मो तांकर गोटे वॉच एनिमल्स को देखि
तांको भीतर देखो दो वन विल बी सेपरेट अलगा रहियो
हां अलगा
सेम सिमिलर सेम जगह नथिबे
मंकीज को ट्रूप रे तो से आता है गोटे दीटा लुकआउट काइंड ऑफ लुकआउट और
लंगूज रे मंकी लंगूज रेसिस मकाक रे एते किछि नथा है लंगूज रे एमति ले मकाक्स नो दे आर लाइक ऑल टुगेदर हियर बट एंड मकाक्स डोंट स्टे इनसाइड डीप फॉरेस्ट से माने बेसी हैबिटेशन पाकर थांती बट लंगूज स्टे इनसाइड डीप फॉरेस्ट राइट दे हैव द ये करियो पूरा फॉरेस्ट इको होगा तांकर
डू दैट साउंड अगेन yeah it's very nice and just has that very heart jemti echoing in the heart
if you don't know that that is a sound of a langur na automatic dori jo in forest when you go for trails and all empty sound hoto you'll be like okay
if you don't know I mean probably all of us have heard the sounds of a langur even people living in cities.
They have different if there's a threat
describe the first let's start with our other discussions also this is riveting but describe the initial days of SFA for
initial days of SFA was all clueless it was like we'll be staring at phone and aaj rescue asla ନା ରେସ୍କ୍ୟୁ ଆସିନି କଲ୍ ଆସିନି ହୋଇଥାଉ କଲ୍ ଆସିଲା ଗୋଟେ କଲ୍ ହଁ କଲ୍ ଆସିଲା ତାପରେ ଆରେ ରେସ୍କ୍ୟୁ କଲ୍ କାହିଁ ଆସୁନି ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆମକୁ ବହୁତ ଜିନିଷ ଇମ୍ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଜ୍ କରିବାର ଅଛି ଜଷ୍ଟ ଡାଏଲ୍ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟର କରିଦେବା ତ ଆମେ
ତ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଡାଏଲ୍ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟର କରିଦେଇଥିଲ
ହଁ 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 ଆମେ
ସେତେବେଳେ ଏବେ ବି ଅଛ?
ହଁ ହଁ वी आर स्टिल देयर
ଆଚ୍ଛା।
ଆମେ ସେଇଠି ଗୋଟେ ଚାହା ଦୋକାନ ସବୁ ମିଶି ବସିକି ଜଷ୍ଟ ଡାଏଲ୍ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟ୍ରେସନ କଲୁ ହଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଡାଏଲ୍ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟ୍ରେସନ ହେଇଗଲା ଏବେ ଦେଖ କଲ୍ସ କେମିତି ଆସିବ ମାନେ ଧାଉଁ ଧାଉଁ ଆସିବ ସମ୍ଭାଳି ପାରିବାନି କ'ଣ କରିବା ଯଦି ସମ୍ଭାଳି ପାରିବାନି କ'ଣ କରିବା our expectations were pretty high when we registered our organization our expectations were so high that we'll be like ମାନେ rich and famous empty expectations ଥିଲା ସବୁ
in some time or at least very impactful to so just to give an introduction, small introduction to Speak for Animals. Speak for Animals, I mean not in the traditional sense, but Speak for Animals was co-founded by you in I think 2015 16 some 16 some portion like that. And before that you were actually telling me that I mean I know because I know you and the co-founder very well. So before that, you guys were also volunteering at a lot of places.
Yes.
Matlab you and your co-founder were what we would call bleeding hearts for the wild, and not just for the wild, for animals. I mean, you were like
yes,
really trying to reach them. And in fact, I think you lost one of your fingers trying to save a grass.
That was when I was a kid.
But yeah, that's more significant. You lost one of your fingers
Yes.
while trying to save a grasshopper. Right?
Yes.
That
When
has
I
been
was
the
like
maximum sacrifice that human species has made for grasshoppers, I believe. Individual sacrifice. So you were trying to save it from some scooter fan.
Yes.
Scooter fan. Tapari, you guys started in 2015 after volunteering in a lot of places.
Yes. After volunteering in a lot of places, we found we had a lot of limitations. We couldn't get the right treatment done or the treatment done in right time. So what major we have realized and understood in all of our cases that the timing of treatment is very essential. So whenever you are giving injecting or giving medications, timing is very much necessary. If you are not on time, you are losing a lot of things like there's the
possibility of saving
bacterial growth, which is the most common thing. Then there are other things that stress increases. There's a hemoglobin downfall. There's like organ failures happening. So if you don't do it in timings, it's not
almost worth it.
Yes.
In fact, you were telling me, I think the fatality rate was so high.
Yes.
That you guys actually got dismayed. Yes, हम लोग कर क्या रहे हैं? If you are volunteering in a shelter and almost all that are coming to these particular shelters are...
We were not only volunteering at shelters, we were volunteering at different other organizations and other facilities even. Everything. Like wherever we would get a chance, we would try to volunteer in. And we would meet a lot of new people. We would get a lot of hopes. At first, hopes are something that killed us. Hopes are something that made us. Hopes are something that killed us. And when we started this organization, many people, like every other day, we would get someone or the other who would come and say that we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you, we'll do. And we would just flow with their dreams. And then we'll keep following up. And then we'll find that like, no, nothing is happening. And then we were like, we have to do it on our own. There's no way someone will come and build things. And we were just like out of teenage. We were just
I think you were what 18, 19?
Yes.
And your co-founder was about 20, 19, 20, about a year more than whatever you were. And so this was about 8 years back, right? This was about 8 years back.
Yeah, it's been 10. I'm like 30.
So 2015. You must have started in 2014, 15. 14, 15. Okay, officially. So what was the first humble beginnings? Where did you start? What kind of establishment did you have?
At very first in 2014 when it all started. See, I loved animals personally, but I had no clue what is happening. It was just very natural to me that we had a lot of stray dogs near our house. And in 2012 I got my first pet, Katie. She was a golden retriever. I taught her a lot of things. I learned a lot of things from her. Like she was my first dog and I had a very traumatic childhood and I would spend majorly time with her. And what I feel in today's world, what people should follow, I was following when I was in like standard 11, 12 when I got Katie, which is like before getting a dog. go and research everything about her or him, whoever you're getting, how to feed them, how to take them out, how to train them, what are the necessity things you should need to follow. That time I remember.
Don't
there
let
was this-
Mother Nature pick up your laundry.
Yes,
basically,
yes. So that time I remember I used to follow this Dogs 101 on Animal Planet. We had
Yeah, there was a program called Dogs 101.
so
I remember that.
they
Yeah,
used to teach
yeah.
about a lot of breed dogs and everything.
dogs, okay.
So how do you raise a golden retriever? I used to learn. I learned that golden retrievers were a very new breed invented in like 1800s by Lord Studelmouth. So yeah, so it was like a mix of yellow spaniel and another dog. So then there were like 4 litters, and then golden retrievers like diverged from that, and then
Right.
it went on mixed with bloodhounds, greyhounds, other Labradors, and everywhere. So we have this 2 or 3 different kind, like British
Branching off.
golden ones, and there are American golden ones. There's like difference in height, weight, and everything a lot. So I studied all of that when I was in standard 12.
Wow.
And I think I don't
Instead
think,
of your books. Instead of your academic books.
so I had no
They should be
clue.
your academic books. They should be part of your
Yes. I
people
feel
knowing.
because everyone in today's world, in today's time, in 2024, everyone is planning and wanting to own up a dog. They want to
Right.
have a dog at their place, but no one wants to look at where the dog came from or which kind of dog, because I feel a dog is like your own personality. So you have to choose a dog which suits your personality, your environment, and everything. That was I also became a consultant to a lot of people, and I helped people get certain
The
kind
neighborhood
of dogs.
consultant.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. So
Kushal
people would
Bhai
come
kind
and ask me when I was in, I think 2012, 13, when I used to take Katie out for walks, and I taught Katie how to walk off leash. I imagine in 2020, in 2012 and 2013, when I was a kid, my dog used, everyone when they would pull their dog with chain and everything, pull, come here and there, my dog would be walking on street without
a
leash.
Yeah, that was revolutionary.
Yes,
2020,
and
that
everyone
was-
would notice that.
Even for now, it's
Yes.
revolutionary.
Everyone would notice that, "Hey, how is your dog walking without a leash?" I'll say there's a transparent leash between her and me. You have to bring that
You
connect,
have
or else that's not possible.
That's not possible.
And they would be like, "I need a dog. I need her later."
And this connection of yours with Katie translated into your general curiosity about the natural world, also your interest in doing.
Yes, but earlier, before even Katie came in, I think when I was in standard 7, 8 and all, back in those days, I was very much fascinated with Jim Corwin and Steve Irwin and many more, Romulus Whittaker. So I wanted to grow up as a herpetologist.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, I
not
didn't
many
know
know this, but I wanted to actually grow as a
exclusive
herpetologist.
information you're giving us. Okay.
So I still have a lot of research papers and books, and what I used to do is, we didn't have PCs back then, so we had cyber cafes.
Right.
I would go download all the information about snakes, venom and sharks, whales, every sort of animal, get them downloaded, print a book, bring them back to my home and
Wow.
study. So I used to do all of that.
Amazing.
And that was my early days when I used to I always wanted to learn how to catch snakes and all. So
Right.
I remember there was a snake that came near our house, and one person from our organization came and rescued the snake in front of me, and I was pretty much fascinated. And then I still remember when I was a kid, there was like snakes would go around, because we lived in airport colony, and everything was dense nearby, so we had a lot of snakes in our areas. And I would and would not even recognize what kind of snakes they are. And I have handled snakes back then only, when they were
Manhandle was actually the right word. You may have not used as much technique as passion.
No,
Yeah,
I did
picking
not.
them
I,
up
didn't.
with
I would
passion.
like pull like this and bring them close and see, look, and then like mother
But
would
that's
get
how
to know.
most experts start.
Yes,
More
yes.
with passion than with technique. And
Yes,
knowledge,
yes,
yeah.
and my mother will get notice that. My father would notice that. I'll get beaten up for that very badly. I remember, and I was like, "You are always buying snakes, and you are always buying animals, and like as such." Then Katie changed my life a lot. Now she's no more. I still miss her, and I still, whenever I go back home, I still can hear her bark. And that is where the major passion started. That is where I would rather say understanding started, because I got to know everything. Like with her, I got to know how to train a dog, how to treat a dog, how to get everything done. Every step with her, every day with her was a learning.
Right.
And then later on things went out with stray animals, and we went in rescuing them and
I think your
everything.
co-founder at that point of time, he was very passionate about
Yes, yes, yes,
animal
yes.
protection
Yes.
and especially the mistreatment of street animals.
Yes.
And he also influenced you to a great extent
Yes.
in that. I mean, both of you influenced each other.
We both of us learned a lot. Matlab, especially I remember he also teaching me a lot about
Right.
veterinary and everything, medicines and all. And then there are a lot of other senior vets also, because it's like the older people who get to know that if you are passionate or if you are just hoax. So
You were saying the director of OU80, I think.
Yes,
We can
director.
mention his name. I think it's especially since it's in a complimentary fashion. Mr. Srinivas, Dr.
Yes.
Srinivas.
Yes. Dr. Srinivas, then
he kind of
Dr.
helped you out.
Ravi Patnaik, then Dr. Tapan Patnaik. These all.
These are also legends of
Yes, legends
the
of
veterinary
yes.
care in Odisha. Not to, but to also say that the veterinary care was very poor, and one of the reasons why you you and your co-founder started the organization was also access. One was access for medical care, and what I understand is that also because there was no medical care to begin with. Even if there was access, even if you could take a street dog to one of the major veterinary hospitals, you found that there was very little that could
No,
be done.
after 5 p.m. we
After
found
5 p.m.,
after
yeah,
5
yeah, yeah.
p.m. there was no facility available.
Facility available.
So anything that happens after 5 p.m. has to wait till morning 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So till then the animal would have pretty bad consequences.
And one of the things that you addressed almost immediately, you were telling me, is that the night injuries and the accidents, because street animals would mostly get hurt during the night. I mean, not always, but often get hurt during the night, and it was the night cases which were going unaddressed mostly. And one of the core things that SFA did was to address the night cases and
Yes.
all of that. And
Yes,
you
yes.
guys would attend to cases at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever.
That
Tell
is
us, tell us, tell us.
where we majorly gained traction, where
Achha.
people majorly got to know about us.
Right.
Where we went into night cases. Like
Right.
anytime there's a call at night, we would just go and attend. And we have seen major cases. Like once I was talking about, there were like 13 bulls and cows ran over by a truck.
Tell us something.
Yes, we got
About
this call, and we were like there's like 13 bulls and cows that have been like rammed over. They were not 13. They called us and they said that more than 10. So when we reached and we saw, it was like a massacre. It was just early in the morning,
Right.
and I still can remember walking on that road of Puri bypass and seeing like 10, 11 dead bodies.
And what was it? What was a truck?
Yes, it was a highway truck, and there were like tire marks all over their body, and it just rammed over all of them,
All of
and
them
just
en masse.
went away.
Probably they were herding together. And
Yes, they were in that spot, and I think Puri bypass was newly built back then with no street lights and all, so they just ran over, like they were like rammed, and two of them survived out of those 13. Where one had a pretty major injury with a fracture, and another escaped with a scratch. But the rest, all of them were dead, like big, old, small, calf, everything. It was a massacre on the road. Crazy.
What do you think has changed? Like, for instance, this is a very important point that you make, is that the road infrastructure sometimes almost becomes the third factor in these accidents.
Yes.
The first two factors being also chance, and second being also bad driving, but the third being very bad road infrastructure.
Yes, I definitely feel that, and as I've traveled across states, I've seen roads have barricades, and both ends, like both sides and in the middle. In other states, I've seen. Here also, we are seeing that development recently, that barricades are being made in different other highways.
And lighting also, lighting helps.
Yes, lighting has been made, and that has actually created a lot of impact over here, because we have seen cases where bulls have come under trucks. Like I had rescued a bull which was just under a truck, and it got stuck near the silencer exhaust. So the entire, I remember I could not even, it was just stuck there. So I
Yeah.
had to enter that, and the silencer was all hot pumping above me, and then go and push the bull. And it was like around 350 kilos, and it was at like around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. We had no support, and thankfully the driver who was driving, it was not his fault. It was some other truck that hit the bull, and the bull
Kind of, yeah, ricocheted into
yes,
the-
and went
yeah.
inside the truck. So he also helped, and then I remember he said that I have my own bulls, and I think one of the people I met who owns bulls.
Right.
He said that I have bulls. He showed me the photos of his bulls and all. So he helped pull the bull out. He helped transporting like the bull to our
And this is
shelter.
also not a very rare incident that I think what we see with a lot of animal rescues, and I'm using we because I have known you for a while and
Yes.
been associated very closely with you and your organization. So what we see and what you report and what a lot of other people also, volunteers and workers, report is that we get a lot of support sometimes from the most what we would think are the unlikely of places, like truck drivers, dhaba owners, a lot of other people. I'm saying unlikely because generally there is a certain kind of apathy to animals who are, like for instance, in a highway, hurt or dying. But once we start helping, it kind of creates a cascading effect where a lot of people stop. Till you reach, because I've seen you in action, till you reach that spot and you try to take care of that animal, cars are just whizzing past.
Yeah.
People are not stopping, people are not really bothered. It's part of the landscape. A hurt animal is something which is there. But as soon as you start addressing that, I think there is a kind of latent thing which comes out, which also sometimes we don't see in, why I'm saying a particular group, or I mentioned particular groups, is because when we come to certain urban settings, we see the opposite. Like if you enter a apartment complex and start treating there might be a little bit of a divisive. Some people might support you, some people might be antagonistic. But usually on the road, people are like on open highways, which are public commons, these roads and these big infrastructure. People are really helpful sometimes.
Yes,
Would you
yes,
agree?
yes, actually. So it's something we have learned with time, and we have understood that we are someone who could have the I'd say maybe a luxury or an opportunity to
Right.
start an organization. But with time, we have met a lot of people who are very much empathetic towards animals, who feed animals on a regular basis. Majorly this hotel owners and dhaba owners and
That's true.
pan shop owners and multiple other people
In
who
fact,
feed
when
a
you're
lot of
finding
animals.
animals, you talk to a lot of dhaba owners and pan shop owners,
Yes.
and they help you locate an injured animal.
Yes. Because
Sorry for interrupting.
in some way or the other, they even have the dreams of starting this.
Right.
So what happens is our society is built as such where animal welfare was never included in mainstream or as a stream where
Right.
someone could have their life settled with.
Right.
So these guys were like, we also wanted to do something for animals, but because of our family situation and because of all of this and that, we could not. And I'll say like till maybe 2022 23 I used to think that I have come through a very rough past, and there was no support from my parents. There was no support in initial days. But right now, what I feel is I never had a family responsibility because my father has a job. He does everything for the entire family. So I don't have any responsibilities towards my
Right.
family. That is why
Great
I could enter this field and do whatever I wanted.
Great point.
In today's world, everyone is bound to do something for the
Right,
family. Maybe
right.
the father was a businessman or something as such, but the father is retired and father needs medical help or something as such.
Right.
So someone was like, even if I wanted to start this, even if I wanted to do animal welfare, I could not
I
do.
could not. Fair point.
So, but then when they
Also
see
women.
us, when
Also
they see
women
us,
usually
Yes,
tied
yes.
up with domesticity.
Yes,
A lot of we have women volunteers who are
Yes.
wanting to work, and
Yeah.
in fact, somebody who has started a very big organization in this is a animal shelter in our city is a woman, very dynamic woman, and so continuing with that point is that You're right. So we are excluded with a lot of our
yes.
domestic.
So when they see us and when they meet us, they're like somewhere or other they feel
Right.
that their dream has come true in some way
Right,
or
right,
other.
right, right,
And that is where they possibly help us in every possible way.
Right.
So it's just not
Sometimes
that.
an outpouring, sometimes
Yes.
an outpouring of especially physical help, like getting medicines, visiting, financially, yes, but very generous with their time and with their efforts, especially in accidents on the roads. That's what
Yes.
I've seen going out with you. One of the pivotal moments of SFA, I believe, was COVID.
Yes.
So, describe the initial days of COVID and what happened. I mean, I think everybody was.
COVID was sleepless.
Yeah, I think everybody at that point of no. What I wanted to say was that when initially COVID happened, I think every one of us were suddenly became reduced to us as individuals and families, because we had to look after ourselves. We had to make sure that how much time are we spending outside, are we wearing masks or not. So we were really focused on ourselves. But I think even in the first few hours of COVID being kind of declared and the country shutting down suddenly, your instinct was to you did the algebra that okay, if public spaces are being closed and urban animals depend, especially animals living on the street,
Yes.
depend on that resource, what will they do? So you immediately, I think, within a few minutes and hours, figured out that we have to do something about it. Tell us what was going through your head.
We have seen animals suffering from starvation.
Right.
And multiple number of cases where we have met animals with starvation are extremely frustrated.
Right.
It's just not animals, it's even us. We as humans, we do get very much frustrated when we are hungry.
Sure.
So we just say whatever we like and whatever happens. But then that is what I figured out is when if there's I read the norms of COVID and it would be like the entire lockdown, and there won't be any restaurants open, there won't be any hotels open, there won't be any offices open, and no one would be able to come out of their houses or anything as such. So the only thing was like here COVID is affecting humans, and then the major thing would land on animals, because every norms, none of the norms describe anything for helping animals or getting recouping with them.
You're right. I mean, they completely even excluded that from their imagination.
Yes.
You're right. The norms did not speak about anything about
Animals.
how to help animals.
Yes.
It was everyone for himself or herself, or at least we were thinking in a very kind of human-centric, which fair enough, but we didn't even spare one thought. I think
Yes.
at the beginning, at the initial stage.
So
Later, I think
on the 19th and 20th we got this news,
Right.
and we were like all like thinking that what can we do for animals and what can be done on what can't be done. And then we just figured out that if we do not feed animals, either 2 or 3 major things will happen that would be kind of worse than maybe COVID itself. Because if animals are hungry, and animals in today's world are domesticated because humans gave them food. Every animal, you see, every animal comes from the wild, and every animal has been domesticated and they have evolved because they have been fed by humans. But if we stop feeding them, and if they stop gaining access to human food and human food waste, then what would happen at the end of the day? They will jump back to the wild senses. Their wild instincts will turn up, because at the end what happens, they have to work for their stomach. Either it would be a mother dog or a father dog or a puppy dog or anyone. They will start having wild instincts. And most likely,
which is, I mean,
yes.
human beings themselves have also evolved in a different school structure that we are now used to. I mean, if you stopped hotels and restaurants and even stopped LPG supply for months, after a while, we can't suddenly instinctually go back to hunting and gathering.
We have seen water crisis, we have seen food
we've
crisis,
seen a lot of.
and like humans go crazy. They'll like just attack.
And it's
They
not
need water.
all of us.
Yes, during Fani, I think we were supplying water, right?
We were supplying water.
Yeah, so that time people were crazy near water tanks. They would hit each other to get like a liter of water.
It was very difficult.
Yeah, and I imagine what can animals do.
Yeah.
Like I think animals are well behaved than that. They'll
Yeah,
take
much
certain
more.
amount of
Surprisingly, probably they need a rebellion. They need to have a
won't do
sepoy
that.
mutiny in their
Yes, they will
ranks.
take a lot of time to get back to the wild and be crazy like us. But we are crazier than them.
So the initial response was one thing is to think about it, but how did you go about arranging resources and what was your strategy?
So I think I immediately discussed the idea with you, and you said that let's just go ahead with a fundraiser or something. We got down to this point, right? That we can just start off with a fundraiser. The major thing that we faced was first was where would we collect funds from?
Right.
Secondly, it would be like who would volunteer during a
To go
viral
out.
situation,
That's
viral
true.
outbreak.
That's
because
true.
see,
Absolutely.
everywhere the news was so bad,
Yeah.
and people were dying, and people were facing were at hospitals. This was crazy.
We also
that
didn't
was
know
crazy.
how much hospitalization would be required. These were the
Yes,
initial
we didn't
days.
know the treatment.
We thought,
We didn't know the treatment at all.
we
right?
didn't know if the virus would. I remember when I had, and thanks to a lot of these volunteering efforts, I had COVID very initially.
Yeah.
One of the first few people I think in Pune. So when I got the virus, I was like, I was detected. I was like, oh, does this mean? I had read the stats and everything. I mean, will I know if I'm like going? Will it be like this, or will it be like, like switched off, battery over and you're out? So these were the initial days of the virus or the pandemic.
And the videos on Instagram and Facebook were going
people
viral,
dropping
yes.
and in these malls and stuff like that.
The cremation grounds were full and there was no action.
This was also later. This was not even the cremation ground. You remember at the beginning, we were looking at Italy, China, and all of these places, and those images were coming in. India hadn't just started with those images, so we didn't actually know how difficult or how easy it was. It wasn't easy.
There were people who were doing predictions. That was like crazy. And then I had to I got in
society.
volunteers, like I guess 20 or 30 numbers of volunteers, and I had to sit back and motivate them. It was a meeting that I conducted, I remember, on the
very
21st.
Brave people. Very brave
21st, and every single meeting was like we remember we had a very small space back then, and it was full.
Right.
So we called in everyone, we sat down, we discussed that, see, this is a very tough time, COVID is going to be very tough, and we have to again protect ourselves while we are trying to save lives of animals. And maybe,
so that was also paramount.
Maybe stopping another issue. So we reeled in, and these were all youths. All of them were youthful people. They were like all in Josh, that we'll save whatever possible, and whatever from our end we'll do.
Very.
And we arranged a vehicle. We arranged, I guess, 2 or 3 vehicles back then in the initial days.
Right.
And all were like voluntary. It was like someone had a broke down Tata Ace. You're not using it. Okay, we'll do some minimum repairs and fill it and let it go at a speed of 20. Not an issue, but we'll drive it around. We got that kind of Tata Ace. Then we arranged a stove and gas to cook and everything. And initially, I think we raised around 30,000-40,000 immediately. Immediately we raised. Thankfully to our those supporters and all, we could raise that much amount. And from nearby stores, we got whatever food possible. Maybe chicken or chicken chuda, dog food, cow food, everything. And then with the help from some safety owning shops, we got a mask and gloves and radiator jackets and everything.
Radiating jackets,
We got and sanitizing sprays and all. We immediately procured those for our own safety, and we mentioned that everyone will be wearing a volunteer ID card, and it would be mentioned that we are feeding and all. Then we did that in a proper and a professional manner. And also what we made sure is following all the rules that were under the guidelines of maintaining safety between us itself and maintaining safety
That
with
was
the
difficult.
public
That was difficult.
and whatever doing and all. And we immediately started off. And I think initially there was one person I had volunteered just to click photographs, and he photographed our initial photos, and that went viral on the immediate first day. I think on the second or third day when we were at Unit 4 Market, I received a call from CM's office directly.
And the
That,
same then was Naveen Patnaik.
Naveen Patnaik, yes, Shri Naveen Patnaik, and he loved our work. He saw our photos and he said that initially the government will fund your.
I think it was also
yes.
noticed by the then uh, secretary at Housing and Urban Development,
yes.
G. Mathivathanan.
Yes, yes.
He actually recognized the effort. He also
He was a
kind
major
of-
help.
He was
He
a
was a
major
major
help
help.
in highlighting that these are volunteers who are going out, following safety protocols. Obviously, not helping spread the virus, but also addressing a situation. One of the things, the CM also recognized your efforts and the organization's efforts. And we got a tweet, I think.
Yes, we got a tweet a few days later. We saw this tweet and we were like so happy and joyful that okay, someone understood
Right.
what we are trying to do.
A lot of validation.
Yes.
Lot of validation.
And then it just came in. The support just came in, and
They
I think
themselves, the government
we
support.
both made multiple number of teams. A team
Right.
for social media, a team for documentation,
Immediately,
a team for procuring all the food that is necessary, a team for looking out at the storage and everything.
And one of the strategies that I loved that we followed was empowering like individuals and not centralizing the control.
Yes, I guess a month later or something,
Yeah.
we were discussing that how can we spread this across Odisha.
Right,
And
right,
it
right,
was
right.
like a broader idea, and I
Right.
was like, damn, not Bhubaneswar, entire Odisha will help animals wherever it is possible from our end.
Right. And Bhubaneswar being the center,
Yes,
like this
yes.
nucleus of the.
Yes, and we just as our all the photographs and everything was going viral on Instagram, and we just put up a word, right? If
Right,
you
right,
are
right.
an organization, you
you're
are a
an
club,
organization.
you are a lover, animal lover, you are
Doesn't
anyone.
matter.
Doesn't
Doesn't
matter
matter.
to
Yeah.
us. You want to help animals, feed animals in your areas, we are ready to help you. Reach out to us. And I think more than 20 districts, from 20 districts, we received messages immediately.
And mostly from individuals also.
Individuals also.
Like I want to do something.
Yes.
I don't have a club. I don't have an
Yes.
NGO. Nothing. We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this,
Then
this guy.
later, what happened? We were like, yes, reaching out to them was okay. We made it overnight. Oh, it was like all overnight journey. Jajpur, Puri. Well, from Jajpur to Puri, from here, Bhawanipatna, from Gajapati, everywhere. We are running around.
Chaotic,
But
yeah.
the major thing what we faced was permissions again.
Right,
So
right,
it
right,
was like they were like they started feeding and they were stopped. And they were like called us. We need permissions. What can we do? And then okay, give me your SP's number. I think we made calls to multiple number of SPs.
And the government
there.
helped at that
Yes,
point of
yes,
time,
yes. They were like,
despite-
please let us know who is
Where are-
actually
where-
feeding, and we need the recognition.
Yeah, we were going
Yes.
too much Robin Hood. We were like we were completely going, without permission. And so the government after a point said that okay, fine.
Yeah, we had.
But it was
government
also-
issued us the passes and.
But we couldn't
everything.
wait also.
Yeah.
Like we had people have enthusiasms which are sometimes short-lived.
Yes.
And we need to capitalize on initiative when we get it. And
Yes.
it's very difficult in the animal sector to get initiative in the first place. That's what's more rare. Permissions are less rare than initiative.
No, but then we were so happy to see that there was like so many wanting to get involved
Sure.
towards helping animals.
Sure.
And that is, I think, today is shaping Speak for Animals more into reaching out in cases
Yeah.
across Odisha.
Yeah.
So we have been.
Does that
blessed
network
in-
still exist?
Yes, the network still exists.
Yeah,
and
across these
across,
Dhinkanal
yes,
and all of
yes,
that.
every district.
And do we help them sometimes?
Yes,
Sometimes.
we get to them. We are in touch. Every single one of them are in touch with us.
I think that's
And-
the next project, is to like solidify our
Yes.
network
Yes.
so that there is a animal response and animal shelter and animal observation, even observation of street animals, what is changing, because a lot of things that are missing, you and I know, is that about data, about how to, I mean, like even capturing dogs for an ABC program requires so much intricate data of local scenarios, local situations. It can't be just generalized over a state
Yes,
or
yes,
something like that.
because dogs, what we have realized in like nowadays, what we have realized and what our rescue data shows is that dogs are migrating. Like we are
Is
seeing
it
a major,
really?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
migrating.
we are seeing a major number of dogs migrating from one space to another.
Right.
And every other day, sometimes we get because we get calls from about rescue that a dog has been hit by a car or something. And what we first look out and ask people is that is the dog local to this area.
Right.
So we have got multiple number of reports where people say that this dog does not belong to this area because
Right.
I feed this many number of dogs and
And
this
this is
dog
new.
is something new.
New.
And just because it's new, it does not understand the topography of
Do you
the
think
area.
the
And then
migration happens because of a lot of the capturing programs which may not be releasing them in the right places, or these are some kind of natural
it's a natural way
phenomenon because of moving, shifting food sources?
no, it's just like us only. It's like we are in a generation where we are in a competition phase, right?
Right,
For
right.
jobs and everything.
Right.
Similarly, for animals, with the outgrowth of population in dogs, they are in competition of food and
point.
also mating. So they
point.
need mates. But then a area is already filled with multiple number of bigger males. So the smaller ones tend to move away, or the older ones tend to move away from that space. And that is, I think, this is
That's why I
pretty
left
common.
Bhubaneswar, by the way, also. So yeah, I can
Pretty
empathize.
common with other species, every species. This is like pretty common with every species where if there's a social herd, then the older male or the most younger male will be leaving the herd to start a new herd or a new pack.
ଆମେ ସେଇ ନେଟୱାର୍କ ଗୁଡ଼ାକୁ ଆଉ ଥରେ ରିନ୍ୟୁ କରିବା ଆଣ୍ଡ ସଲିଡିଫାଇ କରିବା ବହୁତ ଦରକାର ଆଇ ଫିଲ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଅଲସୋ ଗୋଟେ ଆଜ୍ ଅ ନଲେଜ୍ ପୁଲ୍ ବନେଇବା
Yes.
I think ଆମର ସେଇଟା next project ହେଲେ we should work on that. I mean, I'm saying I'm generously including myself, but you being
ନା
maybe
ଆମେ ଏବେ ଯେତିକି ଜାଣିଛୁ ଯୋଉ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନ୍ସ ଆମର ଫର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇନ୍ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ କ୍ଲବ୍ସ ଥିଲେ or kind of single मतलब thile, they have right now grown into a much bigger
units.
yes,
Yeah,
units right now.
and they are themselves become, some of them have actually transitioned
Yes,
to
some
an
of
animal.
them have their own shelters. Like I
okay.
know a shelter in Bhavani Patna, Arco. So they have become bigger. Yes,
Arco, yeah.
yes, they have
And that
become
guy
very
was
big.
really
Yes.
nice, really
Yes,
nice
yes,
guy,
yes. I keep meeting him once a year.
Acha.
He comes here or I go to Bhavani Patna and meet him. And I've seen his place. They have cows, bulls, dogs, and they have a lot of medicinal facilities. And there people are supporting. And in everything, every rescue near and around Bhavani Patna has been taken care by him. Yes.
Tell me one thing. What are 2 or 3 problems or 2 or 3 things that you would like to address or make us aware that would make our lives better, our interactions with animals better, and most importantly, the difficult lives of animals who are especially existing on the streets better? What would you like change? Like 2 or 3 things. For dogs, maybe 2 or 3 things. For cows, maybe 2 or 3 things. What
See,
would you like?
for dogs, I would rather suggest is mass sterilization. That is very much necessary. That is a very common answer, and that is actually a very viable answer because I have been into places like we have all been into Goa and Mumbai and Delhi. Even after being such huge Delhi and Mumbai being metro cities and Goa being a very good holiday destination, we have got a lot of dog population over there, but we don't see dogs fighting over there.
Do we not?
No, we don't see dogs majorly fighting over there, and majorly we don't see a lot outgrowth of population. First is because sterilization. Second, with the numbers decreased, we have a limited population. There are well good feeders. The dogs are in good health. They don't have to fight for anything in their lives. They are in very good situation. They are respected, and they do not suffer from any kind of psychological traumas. In today's world, even here in Bhubaneswar, I see people doing wrong things with dogs. Like if there's a dog passing by, they rush their vehicle. Maybe they have this double stand over there, and they'll just push the double stand and create sparks and noise, and then that is what will happen, and then dogs get traumatized. And I think in Bhubaneswar we see majorly what we face is dogs chasing vehicles and everything, and we have multiple number of accident reports because of dogs chasing, and that is why, because the reason being the youth or the other people, we
Traumatizing
itself
these dogs.
traumatize those dogs. They
Yeah.
overspeed in front of them. They make very bad noises, and sometimes I have also seen multiple people, like they're going in scooty, they'll go and hit the dog with their leg and then run away. This is something we are creating on ourselves only, because once someone is traumatized, they do not recognize humans as like this is the similar person whom we are going to chase. They have trauma, psychological. Once they trauma they have, they will chase after a
Right.
vehicle.
So it's
But we don't see that in
it's a
different
cycle
places.
of violence, which you're saying, and
Yes.
abuse, which kind of is a lose-lose situation for both sides.
Yes, we have to understand and realize that coexistence is very important. Dogs or cows or bulls and every domestic animals has been helping us during early times. Everything before this last 10 years of technological development, animals were the ones who were supporting us.
Yeah. And also, it's, I think, to a great extent, a kind of very westernized imagination of a city without animals.
Yes, and then
And
our
it's-
all our ancient dialects, all our every religious books we have, everything that
No,
is
I'm
of our
not-
starting, that has animal included in
Sure.
it, and we
Sure.
do have different kind of pujas or something for the animals, for the well-being of animals.
I'm not taking, I'm not even going, you're absolutely correct. But besides religious texts being there, we have a kind of limited imagination when it comes to cities, that we wanted devoid of fauna. Flora is all right because it adds a lot of what we understand as aesthetic
Beautification,
value and stuff like that. But and even very limited fauna, of course. But sorry, flora, of course. But fauna is something that we don't want, because we are emulating cities that we have seen on television and grown up, kind of. But there are cities like Istanbul and in Turkey where cats are not owned by anybody, but owned by the city collectively. It's like a public, it's a public property, in the sense everybody feeds the cat. Nobody needs to keep cats.
Yes,
So-
that is what I've seen in our country. I've been,
We can emulate that
yes, I've
as
been,
a
I've been
better
to
model.
Goa, where I was just sitting over there, and there was this dog on the street, and I just randomly asked the cafe owner, "What's its name?" And he was like, "I have no clue." And I'm like, "Okay, so he's here." He comes here at times, he sleeps,
Yeah,
and he
that's it.
goes away.
Wow. Beautiful
That
example.
guy does
Beautiful
not have any issue
Right.
at all, and that dog is also just sleeping over there.
Yeah.
It's not even eating from that, and
Right.
passers-by do feed dogs and everything.
Right.
But that dog is very gentle. The reason being, no one is trying to traumatize that dog. I have
Traumatize
seen
that dog, yeah.
dogs walk in Delhi airport, dogs walk inside Mumbai airport,
Sure.
and there are a lot of animals. So when we start coexistence, we start respecting them, respecting their existence, is something when we will create a lot of balance. And then we also over here in our city, we are generating a lot of food waste. Yes, so majorly we are generating that, and we are throwing in here and there whatever, like just because the we see something, find something green, and there's this crazy high crazy growth of cafes and hotels and on a regular basis than the requirement of the population. We do not have that much population
To drink that much coffee.
Yes, yes.
And have so much problems to drink that much coffee.
Yes.
We don't
So
have-
entirely the food goes into waste.
Right.
Our earlier beliefs is when this is something I would like to let you know, that whenever we go to villages, and I have been inside villages working during disaster times and during a lot of things and everything. So there is a good, like, people live in villages and there is a population, but every household cooks as much as only needed for the 4-member family. Even during I remember floods and all, they cook a lot of food. Okay, because in cyclone shelters and everything, there are a lot of people over there, like 30, 40, 50 people, and we also have to stay with them at that point. They will cook exactly for the 50 number of people.
Okay.
The food will be that.
So the waste is much less.
Much less or near zero.
It's better also if you cook that way, probably for yourself individually.
Yeah,
well,
and if there's one dog or two dog, they just cook a little extra.
Little extra, and that they can throw away as waste, whatever is the little.
But over here,
and that's why the population is low.
If there is like 2 dogs, there will be food for 4.
I'll give you the analogy.
It's like a psychology. Like if see, every animal has this psychology, or if wherever there is availability of food, they will think that they can grow their own generation.
Right.
So what we changes something, what our data shows is right now a 4-month or a 5-month dog is getting pregnant, where the heat cycle should be starting from the 6th, 7th or the 8th month, which we used to see earlier back in 5 years back. But right now the dog is getting pregnant at like 4th month or 5th month, and the dog is coming into quadruple heat. So the dog is this small, the litters are this small. Okay.
That's like another species almost.
Yes. Yeah. It's just not, it's something unhealthy we are generating.
Sure. I mean, this is a fantastic point, is that if what happens as the waste goes up, the population goes up, but we can't rely on a always ever increasing growth model, because at some point we'll have to address matters of growth. And as soon as we try to, kind of address our wastage, our growth, what will happen is that the food supply which existed till then will suddenly shut down. And this kind of sudden shutting down of food resources for urban animals causes them a lot of distress. You were saying migration, maybe even attacks, trauma, a lot of these conflicts happen. But in places where there is a stable kind of like a linear, not so much waste, but we know how much waste is there, the animal population naturally adjusts to the resources that are available.
Yes. And again, empowering the ones who are feeding animals, that is a major point. See, we with all the last 10 years of our experience, what we have learned and realized is someone who likes animals or is empathetic towards animals gives us a call that sir, these and these are the situation, an animal has met with this kind of accident, or the animal is suffering because of this kind of reason. When someone is empathetic towards animals, not every person is empathetic towards animals, right? So we have realized that every part of town, every colony or every society has this 1 or 2 particular people who really like animals, but they do not get any support, or they do not get any little amount of limitation of power, like kind of power to feed them. Even if our constitution says that yes, anyone can be empathetic towards animals, and that if someone is stopping them is actually doing
harming,
a crime,
harming,
yes, doing a crime. So but then that power is not being implemented. That is just there, but that is not implemented, because every now and then in 2 or 3 days we get a complaint that I was feeding a dog and I got harassed. I got harassed,
even beaten up,
and the dog's been beaten up in front of me. Someone, I think it's just very recent right now that someone from a very higher authority is chasing a dog with a big huge sword. Okay, so the person who is feeding the dog is right now in a very threatful situation. The person is repeatedly saying that what
especially if you are being chased by a person of high authority with a sword. We need to also be a little empathetic towards our camera person. You are in the sun. Do you need to move inside?
I think I'm fine.
I know this may take a little bit. Are you sure you're comfortable? Sangman is braving the weather to bring us this exclusive content for the millions of who are glued to our podcast right now. Thank you, Sangman. Your sacrifices. I wish I could. I will take a photograph of how Sangman is standing, and we will put this in the end credits of what it took to get here. You're doing this for a greater cause. So you were saying that, So you were saying that it is 2 points. Is that the protection of animal kind of people who are feeders, especially, those are good signs of people
Yes,
who are impaired.
we need to create a database and record of people who are
Ah,
feeding. So we have certain like iCards available from the central government, the
right.
AWBI feeders card. But
Now, as
that's
soon as it
some,
gets through this red tape, card and all that generation, it becomes a little bit. Card is fine, but I think in general, the idea should be some legal constitutional, yes, but also some kind of social protection for people who are feeding is one act, but they can be how importantly they can be used in addressing larger issues of equality.
yes, larger issues
Like a rabies case, they can
rabies
report
case or maybe sterilization,
sterilization.
even. Because what happens is, what I have seen, like we have been seeing sterilization since I guess I was a kid in school going kid.
Right.
So there would be like a dog catcher van would come in our colony, and I was like, I was a little kid, maybe 7, 8, 9 standard, 7th or 8th standard. I would come out of the house and see the dog catcher van will enter, and all the dogs very smart and neatly will go inside their hiding spaces.
Yeah, it's that.
All the dogs. And I was, as being a feeder when I was a student, I knew their hiding spots. I
Yeah.
knew where they would be and there
Right.
would not be. And I have seen back in those days, and which still continues even after we have such a growth of technology in and our authorities and private and everyone uses so good technology for their empowerment, measurements of roads and building constructions and everything. Like I think we are building buildings in like 1 or 2 days, constructing everything as such. We have not seen a evolution or a technological advancement in catching a dog.
Yeah, because we don't have the philosophy for it.
No, no,
because
because that-
even the catching is so traumatic.
So traumatic. Back in those days, I used to see they would like make a whip, a kind of a rope, and then throw it at the dog. And while after they threw it at the dog would just move here and there, and
Yeah,
it would bleed.
it looked like a, I mean, sorry for the dark humor, but it looked like a very cruel competition in Bali Jatra. Like you had those things that you had to,
Yes.
those rings had to land and you had to
Yes,
get again.
yes.
I have seen them, and after that, what happens is that they drag the.
They drag the animal so badly.
I
and then
understand the
catch
challenges
and
also.
Throw it inside.
I
a
understand
van.
the challenges because they are not given equipments and all of
Yeah.
these resources. I understand that part of it. Of course, there are some, we have met some fantastic dog catchers who themselves don't like the nature of their work. But what I'm trying to say is that that leaves such a bad impression on everything that even if you're a dog feeder who would like sterilization to come to play, you don't trust the process that catches them in this way to give them your dog or the dog that you were feeding or dog that you love or have come to support. So, and also the turnaround time for these operations and the casualties and the infections would be also a big factor.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
thinking about 10 dogs that I feed. I don't know how excited I would be if the municipality took them.
Yes, that is why people protest. I have seen people protesting that you cannot come and sterilize dogs
Yeah,
over here
yeah.
because the catching method is so bad,
bad,
so cruel.
yeah,
They
yeah.
are like thinking
We don't want
sterilization
any-
is
yeah.
some of a very bad process. They don't. They are like, no, they are natural. You cannot enter. And
Right.
and that is what I even did when I was a kid.
Right.
Whenever they used to come here, I would say, no, you cannot catch the dogs
Yep.
over here. You
Yep.
catch the dogs. You don't leave them over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Once the dogs are gone, they are gone forever.
Yeah.
I feed them. I have an emotional connect with them, and this
Sure.
is what everyone feels.
Sure.
Every animal lover. I think in our city we will find more than 300-400
Sure.
people who love animals and feed
Sure.
animals on a regular
Sure.
basis.
Sure.
And I have seen in today's date, even after COVID, I have seen people carrying rice and chicken with baltis and going around and feeding. And this is their every night job they do.
And one of the points I'll take from again COVID and you is that people volunteering for animal related causes are not always restricted to that. For instance, in COVID, I think among the donations that you received or you bought even with food and material, a lot of them was also, not lot, but a substantial portion was actually redirected towards migrant laborers traveling through Odisha. I think a lot of people were from West Bengal and you're traveling, walking through Odisha. And we were, I would say you and the volunteers were actually handing over the stuff that we had to. So this next.
This thing we have seen, it still brings tears into my eyes. I'd been traveling to Jajpur and other places. I remember on that highway,
Yeah, that was a terrible
the trail of people was endless.
Yeah.
It was like so crazy. The migration of humans was endless, and we were like, what can we do? What can be done, and what cannot be done?
Yeah, so
I
these
think-
animal workers or whatever, however we would like to term them, are important resources for the community for all sorts of causes. That's what I'm trying to say, and they should be. In fact, you, I think, particularly found out a place, home for disabled children.
No, it was not a home actually.
sorry.
It's my friend who works for specially abled kids.
Specially abled kids, sorry.
And he does not have a space, but then he helps them personally going to their places and homes. So every specially abled kid, see the worst part is every specially able kid has a very either a lower background or has been, it's like majorly they have a very bad experience. The reason being the way we go over here when someone gets married to a woman and then that woman has a disabled kid, so the husband immediately leaves the house and runs away and then gets married somewhere else. And this is more of like
And the
in
kid gets
rural
abandoned.
area.
Yeah.
Yes, kid and the mother both get
Both get
abandoned.
abandoned.
So my friend and very near and dear brother Chinmay, so he goes and helps around these kids.
Yeah, amazing
Yes,
guy.
amazing
Very
personality,
and
and
very
he is-
wealthy.
yes.
Very wealthy, and very belonging to the elite, but very addressing
Down
the
to
needs
earth,
of the poor people. Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes and helps them around. He gets them together and he does multiple activities. But
Sure.
back in that time, he had no clue what can be done.
Sure.
One fine day, he just calls me up and he was like, Kushal, I'm especially worried about all the kids that I know, and under our care, I think there were more than 100 kids. And in that his district, like his area itself,
Area.
his village, so near and around Mendasal. So he was like,
This was at Mendasai.
Mendasal.
Mendasal.
Yes,
Mendasal.
yes. So he was like, how can we go ahead and help them? I'm
Right.
like, okay, let me come down. As I have passes, we can go around and
Get
meet,
some resources.
Yeah, resources and give them some resources. So he collected the list, tried calling them, but majorly what happened during COVID time, we had government protocols across cities and we had police barricades. But what in rural areas there are no police barricades, there are village barricades. So in rural areas, whichever village we entered, the village was shut down by the villagers itself from the start of the road.
Ah.
They would put big tree logs and just cover it,
Right.
and you cannot enter the village.
Obviously.
We had to get down in front of the village, take the resources and walk inside, go inside the
Right.
village, find out the house, and what we did, we maintained this safety protocol of maintaining a 6 to 10 feet distance from
Right.
them, as also we knew that these guys are with less
By the way,
immunity.
perfect time to sneeze when we are talking about safety
COVID,
protocols
yeah.
during COVID. Yes, we
So
did maintain.
we did maintain a distance, and we safely just went there, got this ration where there was rice, tea, soaps, toothbrush, sanitary pads, Dettol, and every other oil, masalas,
Right.
eggs, all that is needed for them. We got them over there and kept that near their house barricade, and they would come and collect it later. And I think we helped a lot of people. I think we got this help from Sainik school because
Sure.
of Aditya. So he got this ration for a lot of people, and
Right.
I think a truck full of ration came for them.
Right.
And we went ahead to helping all of them
All of
wherever.
So you just give a very vivid example of the point that we were making is that you, through your experiences, have helped more than specifically just animals, though that itself has been great. But you have addressed larger kind of issues sometimes. For instance, you were one of the first responders in the Munduli tragedy, and if I explain the Munduli tragedy a little bit just before we start, before I take your POV on it. Um, the Munduli tragedy is a Munduli barrage. So Mahanadi has various barrages and what they called weirs, which actually control mostly the flood, also used for other purposes, but mostly flooding in that river. So just upstream of these barrages are very common upstream of big cities and towns. So just upstream of Cuttack, there is the Mundli barrage, which is kind of trying to control the flooding of the river so that Cuttack isn't flooded. If you look at Cuttack, that's where the river actually bifurcates, even trifurcates. So, and comes down and one goes up. So, generally. So, that's a very important barrage. And I think a herd of elephants was crossing it and one was stuck. I'll let you describe what had happened more.
So it was the time of elephant migration. So elephant.
It was this year, this month, September, I think. Yeah, somewhere in the later September months.
So the elephants keep migrating from one spot to another because of food and water resources and everything as such. So that's the natural protocol, and elephants are pretty good swimmers, and we all know about that. They cross Mahanadi like this, like it's just a pool for them. So the adult male, the bigger male, helps in crossing the smaller ones. So it helped in crossing multiple number of elephants, like around 22. And
22 elephants it helped cross
them.
The elephant that was later stuck.
Yes. So like once, like twice or thrice he had to go here and there. And I think Mahanadi is the largest river we know of, and the distance being a lot. So more than, I guess, 5 kilometers maybe.
At that point, maybe less than
like
that. Maybe
less than 3 or 2.
I'm not very sure, but it looked, I'm taking a visual measure, it would look like 1.5 kilometers, but
more. I feel it was more. It was more. So as they do this kind of crossings, it's like pretty early in the morning. They started around 3 or 4 around at that time during the dawn, and then they cross slowly and steadily. They cross across. But what happened is this guy was left behind, and it was already sunrise, and people started noticing him, and he was pretty tired with the crossing, multiple number of crossing. He got very tired. He was a huge tusker, so he got tired, and he just was standing under the bridge under the shed, that he would just take some rest and then maybe later on cross it. And also the flow of the river had increased that time. That also caused a lot of effect. So people noticed, people started gathering. It was all over media, news and everything that an elephant is stuck in the river. And I immediately got a call.
So you're saying your assessment is that it wasn't at that stage stuck?
No.
Per se. It was just that it was resting and the floods the water currents had increased, so basically negotiating that.
Yes, he was just taking some rest, and he was waiting till it's like around at night or something, and he would cross over again peacefully. But and what happened is people were all across the banks, river bank and everywhere.
Both sides.
Yes, as soon as the news hit, and
one side is Cuttack, another side is the beautiful Athagod and the beautiful forest of Athagod. I think that's where they were headed also.
Yes. So every both ends, people started gathering, and it was a huge, like more than 2,000 people had gathered, and the elephant got stressed. Elephants easily get stressed when they see humans and everything, and it's just not elephants; it's just all wild animals. Even if it being the largest animal, it got really stressed. And I think we remember the very bad tragedy. We immediately, I along with Jyoti Bhai, who was my colleague back then, like he's still my colleague as honorary wildlife warden, and along with 2 of our volunteers, we immediately packed whatever we had in our inventory, and we just immediately went to the spot to see what can be done. And once reached, we saw this huge, like the crowd was crazy, like they were like shouting and singing and speaking slangs, doing whatever they want to.
So like a regular festival there.
Yeah, it became like, I don't know, like it was like a riot or something as such for no good reason. we had we
no,
had such
usually
a,
no good reason for riots.
yeah,
but
we it took us like an hour to just cross the river, and
I think everybody was reporting that why
yes, yeah.
why are there so many people
Yes,
on that,
yes.
and that's
So
complicating.
once
Somewhere
we,
helping,
yes,
somewhere helping.
once we reached, we met with the higher officials and we were just discussing, and I think the RCCF and all the DFOs of 3 different regions were present, and everyone was present on the spot, and discussing what is happening and all, and we were like to a conclusion that there's no necessity reason to do anything over here right now, and the elephant would just cross over, and we just have to keep monitoring over him.
The situation.
And yes, the situation and the elephant, that no one disturbs the elephant, and we were just monitoring. And soon what happened, we saw this boat get down. I think ODRF men were there, and along with
ODRAF is Odisha Rapid Action Force, I think.
yes, yeah, Odisha
Mostly
disaster.
addressing
floods,
and difficult.
yeah, there was no
situation.
reason for them to get down anyways. But then after that,
I think
with the journalist
report
reporter.
Revealed that they did it on their own without
Yes,
any.
yes,
At least
yes.
nobody will take
Yes,
now
yes.
discredit.
So
with the two journalists.
yes, a
from
cameraman
a
and
camera person and the journalist Orindam Das.
yes, 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 yes.
And,
They got down over there, and they started taking footages from nearby the elephant over there. The elephant was calm and composed. It did not react at all. I think we were standing, and we just saw, we were witnessing that the boat went in, did one circle, and then that was like the safer distance. Elephants are pretty territorial. During all of our patrolling, and whenever we have been going around monitoring herds, we have clear instructions to keep a distance from them. It is very much necessary because elephants are very territorial. They protect their territory, they protect their herd a lot, and we need to respect that. If an elephant is saying no, then it is a no. If we respect that, that is what the coexistence mean. We are monitoring them and we are looking after them. We do not want to intervene and get ourselves squashed up in the process. Right? It's our harm at the end
Sure.
of the day. But they did that mistake of going closer to the elephant to get a closer shot, which was pretty unnecessary. And the moment they went to get a closer shot, I think the rotor hit a rock or something, and the motor stopped. Yeah, and the moment motor stopped, this boat rushed towards the downfall. And see, they went pretty close to the elephant, and if the elephant was at all harmful, they were like in trunk's reach. The elephant but went ahead to them, and then there was a huge trumpet the elephant did, and it came back. It just came back, and it just watched, and it was like it put a trunk ahead of that. They didn't know, like, it didn't attack at all. If it wanted, it could have squashed all of them over there on spot. And I know, like, the power of elephant. I've seen them walk across walls like slicing a cake. Okay, with zero effort. They can just pull down a tree with zero effort.
Right.
Like, it's like I've seen them itching their backs, and then the tree falls. Okay, so that is how powerful they are. Okay, but then it did not do anything. It had no intention of harming anyone. All it wanted was to rest.
Yeah.
Just rest and get a little stress free. But over there the boat collapsed, and I think it just folded. And the scuba driver, he immediately hit his head over there. And
So this is Sitaram Murmu. who
yes,
died, yeah.
yes.
He was a 35-year-old.
What we need to
scuba
understand, when the water falls under the bridge, there's a whirlpool that is being generated, and it's like a crazy. It's like a death trap. No one escapes that whirlpool, and the boat fell inside that whirlpool.
Right.
And the very much professional diver passed away immediately, and his body started floating.
And also Arindam Das.
No, Arindam did not die then.
At that time?
At that time,
Oh, yes.
all 7 of them were alive. 5 of them were drowning, and thankfully, the moment this happened, we immediately ran to the spot, and people had thrown in ropes. Some of them were holding on to ropes, but it was of no use as the water was very slippery. The ropes was
Who's doing rope climbing from a river? Yeah, we are
no,
not training
it
for
was
that.
not possible.
No gym
So,
is
but
training for
thankfully we had this rope ladder with us. It was a
that. You had it.
Yes,
I
yes,
think.
yes.
And you use it in wildlife
Yes.
rescues when
Yes,
civet cats,
and
monkeys.
yes, we go inside wells and everything.
Wells
And
inside.
we immediately threw our rope ladder on spot, and we tied it with the
That
bridge.
was the very rope ladder which people used.
Yes,
The other,
people
I think,
used.
5-6 who.
5 of them were hanging, and they came out of the rope ladder. What happened with Arindam was, all the 5-6 people were here. The boat was here. Arindam was here. He was stuck alone on the other side,
Right.
in the whirlpool, and he was just going in, out, in, out, in, out. And they had thrown a rope over there, but sadly, because of all the miscommunication and all the public present over there, someone or the other, they just gave an order of pulling him up and everything, and it got really bad. He got pulled in a very bad manner. He fell from I think near halfway he fell down, and then in the second half he could not make it anymore. But luckily there was something which I think I would personally let you know, that immediately when everyone thought that after Arindam passed away and these 5-6 people had come up, I was like, they were like, someone else is missing. Head count was missing, and I was just staring at the raft, I saw a foot that came out. Okay.
Oh.
And everyone was like, no, that guy is dead, and under the
Oh, the camera person.
yes, they thought that guy is dead, and
This
I was
is-
like, no,
this
that guy is not dead.
This is Sangman is happy. Sangman is like,
The cameraman
finally
never dies.
somebody, yeah, the cameraman never dies. Oh, sorry.
so I saw, okay, there's this foot, and that guy
That's
was,
what he did. That's what he
that
actually
guy
said. He was underneath the.
Yes, the guy was very intelligent and very clever, I will say. He went under the boat, held on to the ropes, and used the air inside.
Inside the
and because
cavity.
once the boat is like this, there's this vacuum created, that water flow is also stable inside.
Yeah.
So he just put his leg out and he was wiggling it. And I noticed that immediately. I'm like, there's someone under the boat and he's alive. And they were like, no, he's dead. I'm like, he's alive. Throw
Right.
a rope, tumble the boat, we'll get him.
Right.
So we
Sorry.
immediately threw a rope, and luckily it got stuck to this hook over there, and we pulled the boat.
Right.
And then that guy was alive, and then and trust me, this persons who climbed up that 5 people of overdraft team, one of them was like, I'll go and save him, and he again jumped down. And imagine the energy he
Wow.
had. He again jumped down,
Really?
and he got the
overdraft
cameraman
team,
out.
I mean, enough. I mean, this guy who was also part of the second scuba diver, he was from Jagatsinghpur.
Yes.
And he had seen, he's from Jagatsinghpur and Esma, I think. And he has seen cyclones, floods himself. So he himself knows a lot about disaster. And they were actually 2 of the leading scuba divers who used to scoop out dead bodies who were drowned and themselves. So they were kind of heroes. And this is extremely heroic information. Also, the other thing which, like, I want to add to the narrative, I just want to add to the narrative, not take credit, is that this is what happens. Like, in that entire incident, people missed that you were there, and because of your knowledge of wildlife rescues and the equipment of wildlife rescues and animal rescues that you had carried, the net, the ropes, the ladder, you could address the situation. So in a certain manner, and 5-6 lives were saved, it could have been a much bigger tragedy. You with your knowledge also kind of noticed, because you have an eye for noticing these things which have come through rescues and all of that. So I'm saying, using this very tragic incident in a way, but the only thing that I can see also to add to the narrative is that this is how a society or people who have other people who are sensitive to animals, nature, environment as a whole can always be an asset. And especially in these times of climate change, flooding that we see, you have gone to so many flooding places and so many wildfire. I
Yes.
think we have addressed wildfire issues,
Wildfire issues.
flooding issues. I have walked with you in villages where snakes would come up, and
I remember.
we had to untie snakes from our like shoelaces.
there was support wala.
Yeah, we were rescuing, like, it was peak for animals became, snakes for animals for a brief period of time, because we were saving snakes left, right and center. Just, to take an example. So it's a larger thing, especially for a coastal region such as Odisha or even any part of the world. In the age of climate change, I think this kind of urban environmentalism is very crucial tool for governments to, kind of incubate and also, grow and support. Sometimes you are in these wildfire situations, there are people need to be evacuated, you are in an extreme situation.
Yeah, we have been into places where we are first responder to multiple of the
Multiple.
places, because we at one point of time we had been into a village at Jaleshwar. Okay, so that village had a upper village and a lower village. What happens in village scenarios, what we generally don't know, what every crowd does not know, a village has two parts. One is upper, one is lower part. The lower part
Is it divided by caste?
Yes, that is exactly divided by caste, and the lower part is kept in the most outskirts of
More
the village
vulnerable.
and more vulnerable, and the upper caste has a much better space. So what we called a village is not actually a village. It has a village and a sub village with a similar name. So that when we went, it was like on the Nadi Muhano, where the river meets the sea, and that village was had got all the facilities from the government and everything, but the lower village was divided by a small hill. So there was a little uphill, and then hill goes down, and then on the river bed there was this like a family of 24 families to be precise, I remember.
And you did that almost that Odraf scene where you went by a boat and
Yeah, that was another flood we did.
Okay.
Yes, we went by boat to multiple places, but over here we went by car because the car was accessible to that area. What we reached and we saw was something that is which we don't record during floods. So once the water comes in, it moves out. But over there, these people were doing fish farming of freshwater fishes. So once the salt water hits the fresh water, it's become salty and all the fishes die. And with that, the dead bodies that go up. This entire village was wiped out. All the houses were on the lower hill. The houses were here. They were pushed towards the upper hill. Like when I walked inside the village, first was I could not stand with the smell. We had to wear double mask because the entire drainage water had become black in 3 to 4 days of the flood reduction. It was all black because all the fishes came and got stuck inside, and it became pretty unhygienic. The furniture, the almirahs and everything was stuck in uphill. The houses where all the terrace were gone. These people did not get any single support. I asked, the worst part is when I asked them is what are you eating? They took me to a place, backyard of their house. They unfolded a net. The rice sacks had flown away with the flood. They had to fish out rice in using fishing net, actually mosquito nets. They had to fish out rice, and that had all the plastics and everything. They were just taking out and that cooking that and eating. So I remember we had 2 big cartons of biscuits, and we immediately distributed that in that crowd. And I think we recorded every photos over there, and we put it on social media later, and we put the exact location details data on social media later. Later we received message that they received help from the government itself. They had received help from different other organizations too, and that was pretty something we had discovered back in that time. That village never used to get help during flood times.
And this was a first.
Yes, even at other places, even when we go to Baleswar and all, people try to hide the exact spots where the people are suffering because of caste difference, and that is something we face a lot. Over there, they don't understand what. I've been into flood areas where I've when we were talking about snakes, over there, at one spot I was heading towards somewhere on the road. I was saying that it was like evening hours and all our work had got over, and I was just taking a stroll. Some village after work got over, taking a stroll, and these villagers were like, "Sir, Jantuni, don't go to that area." I'm like, both sides were trees, and then it was open. I'm like, "Sir, the khola jaga, say there's agriculture land and it's flooded. I just want to go and have a look." And like, "Sir, Jantuni, you won't like it." Because I had already spent 4 days over there, and they knew that
What
I
you
love
like.
snakes and what animals and all. When I reached that, I was like, I still went. I went and saw, because I'm a guy who does not listen. Yeah. So I just went over there. I saw this like more than 20, 30 dead bodies of snakes floating over there. People kill snakes. They directly, whatever happens, they kill the snakes, they kill all animals and just throw it over there. And the dead bodies were like crazy. And I think just earlier, 2 hours earlier, maybe I was giving relief over there and helping some monitor lizard that had entered a house somewhere. And this little kid comes up and says, "Sir, sir, sir, ଆପଣ ଗୋଦି ବଞ୍ଚଉଛନ୍ତି?" ମୁଁ କହିଲି ହଁ,
Godi is what a monitor.
ଗୋଦି ଇଜ୍ ଅ ମନିଟର ଲିଜର୍ଡ।
Yeah, monitor.
କହିଲି ହଁ, ନା ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଧି ଅଛି, ତାକୁ ବଞ୍ଚେଇ ପାରିବେ? ମୁଁ କହିଲି କ'ଣ ହେଇଛି? ନା ତାର ନେଟ୍ ଘୋଡ଼େଇ ହେଇଯାଇଛି, ସେ ପାଣି ଭିତରେ ବୁଡ଼ିକି ଅଛି। ମରିଛି ନା ବଞ୍ଚିଛି? ସାର୍ ସେଇଟା ତ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି ସାର୍, ପଡ଼ିଛି ସାର୍। ମୋର ଚାଲ ଦେଖା। ସେ we went over there, and this inside the water, this yellow monitor lizard, it's like very rare. Sorcia godhi, they say that yellow monitor lizard was drowned inside the water. I took it out and I saw, I was like, okay, it's like pura near dead, and I was staring at his eyes, and it just blinked. I was like, no, this is alive, this guy is alive. But in a stage where this guy can't like at all react, I somehow within 10-20 minutes I used blades and everything. I cut off the net and all, and I was holding like this, and we gave immediate first aid injections to that guy. And I was like holding, and this guy is like nothing, no reaction, nothing. And then I'm like, okay, what is happening? And the entire thing, like while I was rescuing this guy, they were taking videos. So when this guy was not reacting, my volunteer comes up and he says, "Are kaun bhai ei chi jona pudni?" And he shut off the camera and put it. Immediately, within seconds, this guy stares at me, jumps in water, gayab. I'm like, recorded, did you record? He's like, I came up to see what is happening.
He took revenge for your sham stories during the flood. He was like, "You give me a story, I'll give you a story."
He just jumped, and I was like, okay,
What a beautiful
pretty much happy that this guy was saved. And multiple, this snakes and reptiles and something we have to be very careful of, because while we cross rivers and waters, it's always this. It's all chest. And at times while going and all, there will be a monitor lizard swimming by, and I'm like, okay, there will be a snake swimming by. I've got attacked by leeches. Yeah, like I was like full of one time my hands were full of leeches, and it's like they're like crazy story. And see, what majorly I realized during flood times, that's something pretty major. And we talk about mental therapy over here. Okay, so during floods, when I go to them, which this is something I don't share on my stories or Instagram or something, every single time, every single village over there, they love me a lot. I am in touch with a lot of sarpanches of that village. I know a lot of people from those villages. They have my phone number, and they even while leaving, they wanted to get me married from the village itself. They were offering a girl, like, yeah, you can take a girl, you're not married, you should get married over here. And as such, these were the offers they gave. So the thing is, whenever I go there, I just if you can't help them, you can just listen out to them. So whenever I go, like whatever they're suffering from, they show me around. That's देखो तू पानी यहाँ से घर के अंदर आ गया, and this has washed off and everything. They know that I can't help them. I am here to help their animals. They get help for their animals, but then sitting and listening to them even for 10 minutes give them such a relief that they are able to face the rest of the time, like getting back and fighting against it, because there's a lot of push over there at these kind of caste and everything. I have been into places where people in their houses have street animals, There are a lot of houses, those are hamsters, those are not exactly hamsters, these are these big guinea pigs.
Gunduchi Musa.
Gundu chimusa is squirrel.
Gunduchi
Guinea
Musa is
pigs.
squirrel.
Guinea
They call
pigs.
that some Musa. I forgot.
Yes,
sorry.
yes, yes. Musa, and then they love animals, and it becomes peaceful because at evening time, after finishing off all the work and everything, we just sit, they play these old instruments and all the animals are having fun, they are feeding animals. It's very nice.
Yeah,
good
probably
time.
places where we should be looking for better models of human animal
Yes, more
interaction.
coexistence because they still use bulls, and I've been into places where there are this old couple. We see the couple goes and get older with them. I have seen older couples together with cows, bulls, dogs, goats together inside one house.
Right.
Like the outside is
They are,
flooded, they are inside.
I swear, those are better couple goals than we
Yeah.
I see described.
Exactly, they live with the animals, and this is something we as urban people, urban youth, we whatever we call ourselves, we should learn how to coexist with animals. It's
Sure.
pretty peaceful.
Sure. Kushal, been great. Let's wrap up. We couldn't do some section on honey.
Yeah, we can
We can later add them यहाँ पे because we can't shoot it because that's fine. Yeah, we are done. It's good stuff. Good stuff, brother.